All right, let's take a quick look at this tire. Very often, this can happen during shipping. If it's getting tossed around, bumped up and down, the bead of the tire will shift, and you'll be able to see it's not fully seated in this area, and in other areas it is. So when I throttle, it will bump up and down just like that. This is very easy to fix. First up, deflate the tire all the way. Next up, we're going to go around the entire tire. You can kind of squeeze it with your hand, or if you have like a tire iron or a flathead screwdriver, you can go around. But what you're trying to do is push the bead into the center to try to break it from the rim itself. Next up, I'm going to take some tire shine or soapy water or just something that's a lubricant to go around this bead. And I'm going to just fill this area up between the bead of the tire and the rim. You can see I've pushed the bead off to the side and I have added a whole bunch of that soap. And I'm now going to hit the throttle. If you don't have one of these wheel stands, absolutely go to Amazon and buy them. This is why we put these spools on here, so you can work on your bike and do all sorts of fun things. But I'm going to throttle it hard. And by throttling it like that, the centrifugal force of that speed is going to help push the tire out. You don't have to do this. This is just a little step that we do over here that kind of helps to make things a little bit easier. But again, you don't have to do that. All right, now you're going to get your tire gun, your air compressor, your hand pump, whatever you have. And we are going to pump up the tire. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to over pressurize the tire. So on these Javelin tires, there's a couple different things that they will say depending on the tire we're using, but usually 40 PSI. And so I'm going to pump it up to about 45 PSI, and that will help set that bead. And then once we've set that bead, I'll lower the pressure again. So let me pump it up. I'm pumping it up, and as I'm doing that, you can watch the bead. It is not going to move until you get to about 40 PSI because these motorcycle tires are so stiff. All right, so I've pumped this thing up to about 45 PSI, and that soap has allowed the rubber to move on that rim. The entire purpose of the soap is to be a lubricant. And you can kind of see over time, this takes a few minutes, but that tire is going to flex and slowly set its bead. So I'm going to throttle it, and you're going to see that it is not going to be perfect. So I'm still getting bounce. It's a lot better than it was before, obviously, but there's still some inconsistencies. So I'm going to stop. If we want it to be perfect, what I will do next is I will go around the entire rim. And this one's pretty close, but this particular area from about here to here, maybe not fully set. So I'll kind of mark a zone with a marker. Yeah, this one's pretty good. So here to here, and I'm gonna deflate it again, and we're gonna add more lubricant right there. All right, I'm inflating again to 45. That's really it. I mean, unless you put it on like a very fancy stand, it's never going to be amazingly perfect, but you can certainly get it to the point where you don't notice anything, and it's great on the road. So I hope that was helpful. Soapy water, over pressurize it a little bit, watch that bead. Once you get it balanced, take that pressure down to the 40 PSI, and you should be good to go. All right. Little bonus tip for you. If your brake disc is wobbling, see how this one's going up and down? The side-to-side thing is just going to be part of how this floating brake caliper works. You see this on all motorcycles. You just do not hear it because you're hearing an engine sound. But if you're getting a disc going up and down, what you're going to do is you're going to loosen the 4 large Allens that are held on by a nut on the back. So I'm going to do that now. This happens when you are braking very, very hard for an extended period of time. Let's say you're going 1,000 miles or so, and you've been really beating the crap out of the bike. you've been riding on hard city roads and stuff like that, this disc can become out of center. But just like everything on the bike, we make it super easy to maintain. These are all non-proprietary parts, all easy tools. It's really, for a high-powered bike, as easy as it can be to maintain. So now I'm gonna spin it, but before I do, you can see how much motion I've got in this thing. So I'm gonna spin it, and I can see the disc moving up and down. So I'm gonna watch for it to be out of balance. It's pretty balanced now, actually. If I could detect a low spot, let's see. It's pretty good. So now, if I found a low spot, I would just pick it up, but it's looking pretty good now. And I tighten one of these guys. Tighten these 4 bolts up. And now hit the throttle. And you can see how much smoother that thing is, right? So we're looking really good.